Environmental Personhood by Isabella Swan.
Hey! You finally came to our end of the week barbecue.
Yeah, I usually go home after a long Friday, but here I am.
Well, it's great to see you, and what a day it's been! Another day, another dollar, huh?
We don't get paid until next week.
Cricket, cricket. So, do you like this new kind of soda? I know I do.
It's meh. I don't want to finish it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing?
Well, I'm not gonna finish it. It's meh. So I dumped it.
I mean, why are you pouring soda all over the roots of the tree?
It's fine, it gets exposed to chemicals anyways.
Sure, but imagine how that poor tree feels, and all the other plants and living creatures that live around it.
Oh, come on.
You're talking about this random tree as if it's a person. I think of this tree as a person.
Nature cannot be people. Humans are people.
But what if it was considered a person? Surely the environment will be better protected if it were a legal person.
Psh, that could never happen. Think Americans want a tree to be just as much of a person as you or me?
Perhaps you're right, but values shift over time. Humans rely on overusing nature for our benefit. Where our human lives depend on the continued exploitation of nature and animals as things to be used and to be used up if needed. Humans have been under the belief that nature is ours to conquer and exploit, but this mindset devalues ecosystems for their major part in the planet. The environment has value in and of itself, but typical Western ideologies have dictated that it only has value when it is valuable to our needs. The environment could not be considered a person until we move away from such settler colonial views of nature.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Americans have been like this since it was colonized.
It's so ingrained in our culture, I can't see it changing anytime soon. Maybe not in the near future, but over time, as climate change becomes more visible, we will understand that we're living in the consequences of thinking the whole world revolves around humans. Anthropocentric worldviews involve seeing humans as the most important thing in the world ever, whereas biocentric worldviews argue that humans are not more important than any other living being or thing. Anthropocentrism has called phenomena like the food chain, where we see ourselves as more important than the rest of the natural world. I know many people who have been leaning towards biocentric perspectives because they understand that we are connected and interdependent with all life on Earth.
Okay, but even if over time we see nature as equal to us, that doesn't mean it will translate to law.
It worked for corporations.
Wait, what?
Corporations are considered people in America, especially since the Supreme Court case Citizens United back in 2010.
Geez, I guess I don't understand what it means to be a person.
It's hard to define what a person is, but the US government gives personhood rights to certain groups. And now, because corporations have personhood status, this gives them more rights and responsibilities. But corporations are made of humans, so you can't say that this example justifies personhood for the environment. There's actually 3 theories that were used to advocate for corporate personhood, and one of those theories can easily be applied to any environmental entity. The theory of association is used to argue that corporations are people because they make up an association of people. But a natural ecosystem also includes human beings, who contribute to it, change it, and occasionally harm it in the same way that people contribute to, change, and harm a corporation. We already legally consider associations of people to be persons themselves, such as with social groups or churches. So if associations of life are legal persons, environmental entities, like a river containing wildlife, vegetation, and all of its natural processes, are an association of life. In fact, the humans living along the river who depend on it for sustenance are included within the association.
Okay, that all sounds about right, but I honestly don't think it's the same. As weird as it is for a corporation to be a person, it makes more sense than some stupid tree being a person.
If you really think about it, because a corporation itself is not a living being, that tree is more person-like than a corporation is. These fictitious persons are exempt from physiological death and can only disappear by a voluntary dissolution or by bankruptcy. Where a corporation has no physical or biological life or death,
Rivers and volcanoes are filled with life and agency. A corporation is made up of life, similarly to how environmental entities are made up of life. But despite this comparison, a corporation is more abstract in its existence than the presence of a natural ecosystem.
Okay, I can see that, but what would this even look like? Let's say we shift our values away from colonizing extractors to eco-hippie biocentrism, and the Supreme Court can find that association theory and the concrete life of nature is precedent to grant personhood. Then what?
One major reason environmental personhood could help during our climate crisis is the ability for nature to have legal standing.
Standing? Like it can stand up in court?
You know what? Okay. When you have standing, you're able to stand up for yourself through our legal system. And I know it sounds weird to imagine, and this is partly because until the rightless thing receives its rights, we can't see it as anything but a thing for the use of us, those who are holding rights at the time. It's difficult to understand why something should have legal standing when it has always been considered a thing or something to be owned as property.
Wait, doesn't nature already have standing? I mean, we have environmental lawyers and there's pollution lawsuits all the time.
Actually, it falls short of giving nature the ability to represent itself. For example, a stream has been polluted by a company, and there are people who live along the stream that have always been affected by the pollution. Courts have always been able, in some circumstances, to issue orders that will stop the pollution, but the stream itself is fundamentally rightless, with implications that deserve careful reconsideration. This hypothetical stream does not hold rights because it does not have standing, which means that the stream itself cannot challenge the polluter's actions in court. Humans have our own interests, and often these interests are not synonymous with the needs of a natural entity. Someone affected by the pollution may challenge the polluter on the grounds that it affects their community, not necessarily the impact on the surrounding environment.
Oh geez, that seems awfully counterintuitive. Something meant to protect nature just goes into someone else's pocket because they're considered more of a legal person.
Exactly, now you're getting it. If someone affected by the pollution were to challenge the polluter in court, a win for the plaintiff would mean they would receive compensation, not the stream. While some cases might involve compensation towards cleaning up or repairing the areas affected by pollution, these funds and responsibilities are going towards the winner of the suit. Until environmental entities are considered persons, any case defending nature rights will not directly benefit the grievances of such pollution.
Okay, but it's not like a tree or a stream or something can, physically go to court and verbally tell the judge what it needs. It's simply impossible. How would this work in practice?
Many people think it should be the responsibility of environmental lawyers and nonprofits that spend their careers advocating for the rights of nature. Others think it should be the people that make up the environment, like that example of humans that make up the association of a river ecosystem. I'm not sure who should do this, but perhaps if we listen to nature, we don't have to make assumptions for it.
Listen? Listen to what?
Obvious signals, ones we can determine through scientific study and ones indigenous societies have come to understand throughout history. If a river looks and smells polluted, it is clear that nature is sending the signal that there is something very wrong and we need to listen and promote change. Nature speaks for itself in a lot of ways, but we will never be able to fully understand exactly what it needs.
Interesting, but this all seems too hypothetical. Has personhood for nature ever actually happened in real life?
Actually, yes. In 2008, Ecuador's constitution included the rights of nature. They refer to nature as Pachamama, or Mother Earth, and it is guaranteed fundamental rights just like a human is.
Wow, that's actually really great.
And in 2017, New Zealand recognized the Wanganui River as a living being, granting it the same rights as a human person. And this river was a large part of the culture for the Maori people.
Wow, what an incredible way to look at the world.
What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. It's okay, Spruce Springsteen. I'll come back tomorrow with real water for you.